It's not the question that's screamed from the rooftops, but it's often there, isn't it? Whispered in those really quiet moments,
Mm.
like in long showers, maybe on lonely drives, or just in your most private thoughts. It's that question that kind of lingers, sometimes behind a quiet smile. When love is actually good, how do you keep it?
That really is the heart of it, isn't it? And that's the core theme for our deep dive today. PG Sebastian, he really guides us past all the noise, the daily conflicts, and gets right to the core of this.
Yeah.
We're looking at that path less traveled, maintaining that enduring love once things have maybe settled down a bit, when
Yeah.
the relationship moves from being a storm you weather together to being, well, a shelter.
Exactly. And we often know how to fight for a relationship when it's visibly struggling, right?
Hmm.
But what happens when you've built something quieter, something beautiful?
Mm.
How do you make sure that structure, that shelter you mentioned, doesn't just quietly, almost invisibly crumble from the inside? Not because of some big external thing, but just internal erosion.
Yeah, that quiet decay.
That's really our mission today.
Hmm.
And PG Sebastian challenges this core idea, this assumption that holding on is some kind of, I don't know, calculation or just a constant fight.
It's a really profound shift he proposes because, let's face it, most of us are kind of conditioned to see keeping love as a task,
Right. A job.
a strategic effort. Yeah. We think, okay, if I just anticipate every need, or if I just perform these like emotional acrobatics, or maybe if I just overcompensate constantly for my own flaws, then I've done my part.
Oh, I recognize that pattern. It's exhausting, isn't it? And it leads to that silent erosion of yourself where you end up sacrificing your own energy, your authenticity, just trying to be, quote, easy to love.
And PG Sebastian's reflections are so clear on this. He's explicit. That kind of constant managing and overcompensating, it just doesn't work. It actually creates more anxiety, not affinity. PG Sebastian is unambiguous when he says love is not a strategy. A good man isn't held by just exhaustive effort, or by you constantly performing, or, and this is key, by watching you silently diminish yourself just to make him comfortable.
Okay, so if that whole strategy myth is busted, if we stop that frantic effort,
Yeah.
what actually is the anchoring force then? What holds it together?
Right. So he's held by the atmosphere. And this is really the critical shift in the Steps to Forever framework that PG Sebastian lays out.
Atmosphere.
It's the tone of your presence. It's the rhythm of your respect. It's that invisible language between your souls that communicates safety and honor and recognition. It's an internal climate that you curate together, not some external performance you're constantly staging.
That makes so much more sense. So you don't hold on to the man by chasing him or managing him.
Hmm.
You hold on by like tenderly guarding the space between you.
Precisely.
But atmosphere, it still sounds a little abstract. Like, what does the day-to-day management of that climate actually look like, practically speaking?
Well, Sebastian reminds us that this space between you, that is the emotional climate. And it has to be tenderly guarded because, honestly, that's where love either deepens or it just slowly dries up.
Right.
And the non-negotiable qualities of this, let's call it a sacred space, this climate checklist, they focus entirely on non-transactional decency. Really basic but profound stuff.
And I guess this is where the small daily choices matter so much more than, say, the big annual gesture, right? We're talking about things like tenderness without transaction, meaning affection isn't some kind of debt payment you make.
Exactly. Or kindness without keeping score.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It really is. Because when you start keeping score, all your interactions become rooted in this conditional behavior. You're essentially trading affection for, I don't know, emotional stability points or something.
Yeah, like, I did this, so you owe me that.
Right. And Sebastian pushes us towards peace without pretense, which means you're willing to actually resolve tension, properly resolve it, without resorting to like passive-aggressive performances or the silent treatment.
Okay. And the last one you mentioned.
And finally, joy that doesn't always need to be loud to be lasting,
Yeah.
It's that comfort you can find in shared quiet, just being together.
That really resonates.
Yeah.
Which brings us maybe to a reflective moment for you listening right now. Take a second and look at your daily choices, the big ones and the small ones. Are you keeping score, tallying up what he owes you emotionally? Or are you just offering kindness simply because that's the culture of your relationship? Just be honest with yourself about that transactional piece in your daily interactions.
Yeah, that honesty is crucial because it protects you from those destructive traps PG Sebastian warns us about. That impulse to hold on can actually lead many people straight into this pattern of exhausting perfection.
Right.
Holding on does not mean walking on eggshells around his mood all the time. It doesn't mean romanticizing your own exhaustion, like it's noble. And it certainly doesn't mean constantly having to prove your worth.
And okay, here's where I think it gets really interesting. Because we often mix up being easy to love with just being endlessly available or almost emotionally invisible.
Yes, that's a common trap.
You think if you just stay quiet, don't make waves, you're being accommodating.
Mm,
But PG Sebastian says that's actually a direct path to that internal crumbling we talked about earlier. You're sacrificing your own vitality.
exactly right. The framework he advocates for really promotes what we might call the necessary balance, maybe. The strong soft. It's a complex emotional muscle, and it definitely takes work.
Strong, soft, I like that.
It means you offer stability, yes, but without sacrificing your own vitality. You aim to be calm, but crucially, never passive. You should be warm, absolutely, but not overly accommodating to the point where you lose your own truth.
Okay, but how do you practically tell the difference between being calm and being passive in, say, a tense moment? If I'm trying to keep that peace without pretense, doesn't that sometimes mean I have to suppress my immediate gut reaction?
Ah, that's a great question. And Sebastian's insight here is really powerful. The calm he talks about is rooted in your strength of self, not in suppressing your
Okay.
feelings. See, the passive person avoids conflict just to keep things smooth on the surface, but the calm person, they hold their center so they can address the conflict clearly and constructively.
I see the distinction.
So you need to be clear in your values, know what they are, but soft in your language, and always strong in your sense of self. Your core values are non-negotiable, but how you communicate them can still be respectful and gentle.
I love that framing. So the good man, as Sebastian notes, isn't just held by love itself, but by how that love actually lives and breathes in the space between you.
Exactly. Does your presence make him feel expanded, or does it make him feel reduced? That's kind of the litmus test for the atmosphere you've co-created. And that leads us directly to the core function of a healthy long-term relationship, which, in the Steps to Forever approach PG Sebastian teaches, must be an anchoring force, not an anxious obligation.
Anchoring force, not anxious obligation.
Yeah, the relationship should feel like coming home, not like reporting for duty. That's the mechanism, really, by which enduring love is maintained.
And the practical way to build that anchor, according to Sebastian, seems almost entirely rooted in the lack of testing. Think about that for a second. That distinction.
Yes.
He details these specific, everyday interactions that build this foundation of trust.
It's when he feels trusted, not constantly tested. It's when he feels welcomed, not watched like a hawk.
Welcome, not watched.
And when he feels affirmed in his character, not constantly analyzed for flaws. That difference just shifting from watching to welcoming, that's where so many relationships stumble. Watching feels like surveillance. Welcoming is opening the door completely, flaws and all included.
I think we often confuse being vigilant with actually caring. We test because we're scared of getting hurt.
Right. Understandably, yeah.
But Sebastian seems to suggest that the very act of testing creates the environment where love can't thrive. It's like if you spend more time analyzing his every single move, searching for signs of potential failure, instead of just affirming the consistent character you know he has, well, PG Sebastian would say you're missing the entire point.
You really are. You're prioritizing your fear over your faith in him and in the relationship.
And that takes real emotional maturity, doesn't it? Which is something Sebastian focuses on so heavily in his work.
Immensely. You have to be able to hold your own emotions before you demand that he hold them for you. That self-regulation piece is huge.
And the mandate against using certain tactics is very clear in his materials. Like, don't weaponize silence using withdrawal as a punishment or a way to manipulate.
Definitely not.
And don't turn every little disagreement into some kind of declaration of doom, making it seem like the whole partnership is suddenly on the brink over a minor fight.
Those are exactly the kinds of silent habits that actively poison the atmosphere. They destroy that safety.
So what's the alternative?
Instead, Sebastian advocates for these proactive, really positive shifts in communication that work to reestablish safety. You actively replace suspicion with presence. You replace the urge to control with genuine curiosity.
Curiosity. That feels like the antidote to accusation, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. Instead of jumping to assumptions or just withdrawing into silence, Sebastian suggests you ask questions, you listen, you genuinely seek to understand his perspective.
That feels like such a mature response. It shows respect, not just for him as a person, but for the partnership itself.
Exactly. You're signaling that you prioritize the connection over simply being right in that moment.
And that must create an environment where maybe a man feels he can fail safely sometimes, or admit his mistakes without facing judgment.
Precisely, where he can still feel seen and affirmed, even when he messes up. And that makes him want to return to that space, to you. That choice, choosing to foster growth together instead of constantly policing each other, that makes all the difference.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, let's leave you listening with one last, maybe quite direct, challenge drawn from PG Sebastian's material. Look honestly at your methods, your default ways of interacting. Are you maybe trying to manipulate devotion, perhaps through guilt or pressure? Or are you genuinely building something where love can actually grow and expand and thrive organically? Because the growth of love should be the goal, not controlling your partner.
That distinction right there between manipulation and growth, that's the absolute heart of the enduring partnership framework Sebastian offers. It presents this powerful paradox, really. You don't actually hold on to a good man by tightening your grip on him.
No, you hold on by deepening your partnership, by actively securing the bond between you. It's not the man who needs to be tightly held, it's the bond that needs to be tenderly guarded.
The world, just daily life, routine, fatigue, misunderstandings, it will test that connection constantly. But how you both choose to return to each other after those tests, that defines the staying power.
So the ultimate things to hold on to then are,
Well, according to PG Sebastian, it's kindness, it's mutual dignity, it's truth, spoken gently, and it's grace, for yourself and for him. It's about cultivating the kind of partnership that teaches both of you how to stay, not because you're afraid of loss, but because you freely choose to, out of genuine affinity.
so if that quiet question still lingers for you in those private moments, how do I hold on to a good man, truly, for all time? PG Sebastian offers us that memorable, perhaps surprising, closing answer. You don't.
You simply become the place where love wants to keep arriving.
That really is the climate of enduring love. We definitely encourage you to continue exploring these crucial insights and tools. Go explore more wisdom and materials within the Steps to Forever ecosystem offered by PG Sebastian.
Yeah, dig deeper.
Until the next deep dive, keep nurturing